I think it's hilarious.
They're very cute and creative, and I just think they're really wonderful.
Yvonne's work is completely unique. Completely unique.
It's really a shame there's not more stuff like that down here.
It's over the top.
I understand it as art. It's a little different.
Every time you go in there's something different and something that just, her mind just works beautifully in ways to create beautiful art.
Little doll I can't forget, smoking on a cigarette. But in my life a real queen, prettiest thing I ever seen.
The dogs or the dolls?
All of them.
Michiko and Pogo.
That's cute. Oh my goodness. That is just so nice.
Makes your day, doesn't it? Come on. Bye-bye.
My name is Yvonne Sallee. I'm an artist in Vallejo, California. I create one-of-a-kind Barbie, altered Barbie artwork, which is always a fashion doll that's sort of the centerpiece of my artwork. Doesn't necessarily have to be a Barbie. It can be a Disney or a G.I. Joe. When I was growing up, I wanted to be an artist, but I was always discouraged from being an artist. I think that was because when my mother married my father, he was an artist. And 4 years later, when she divorced him, she thought all artists were no good. I was born in Roswell, New Mexico in 1946. I was a year old when the aliens landed, and they say that when the aliens died, their spirits left their bodies and occupied the babies in the territory. So that might be where my humor comes from. We came to San Francisco when I was 10, and I grew up in San Francisco, went to middle school, high school, barely made it through high school because the only courses I liked were art. And when I graduated from high school, I did make a couple of attempts to get a job as an artist. Instead, I was a waitress, and then after some period of time went to work as a banker, as a teller. And over the years worked my way up through the ranks in the corporate world. And even though I never felt like a corporate officer was who I was in my soul, I was still proud that I had made it, to assistant vice president and manager, and I was a criminal investigator for the bank. Worked for them for 25 years. 13 of those years was a criminal investigator. And then I retired. I'd always done some sort of artwork and was doing some fabric and glue collage sort of things for quite a long time and was bored with that. And walking down Market Street one day, I saw a gallery that said it was the 5th annual Altered Barbie Show.
The first year that she walked into the show, and she wasn't a part of it, she was still, I think, working for the banks. And I was down on Market Street. I came in, and she was utterly amazed. And she went home, and apparently she immediately started making Barbie art. She made like 75 Barbies that year, or 150. I mean, something insane.
When I saw this gallery show and the kinds of things that you could do, I mean, it wasn't just limited to making her clothes, which I would want to know, that I know how to do. But one of the things I think I found most attractive about the idea was that I love going to garage sales and thrift stores and flea markets, and have done that pretty much all my life and have always felt guilty because I would buy things that I don't need. But when I decided to make Barbie artwork into a business, that everything I buy, is connected with Barbie. So I think what I like best about my work is that it has some humor to it. When I'm in my gallery My desk is in a position where a lot of people will come in and they're not aware that I'm there. And my favorite part is if somebody comes in by themselves and I hear them go through the gallery and they laugh out loud all by themselves. And that makes me feel like I've reached my goal, because to do artwork that makes people laugh is laughable. So this piece is inspired by Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel. And when I first began to do this piece with two Ken dolls, and I was creating God, and I hadn't noticed before when I looked at the original how many children and or babies there were hanging off God. So after all those babies, I realized that I had this little rubber finger thing. I don't know what the proper name for it is. So I created a condom for God to give to Adam, and then poor Adam, he didn't look like he could fit into that condom, so I had to give him some special enhancement in order for that to look like it fit in that condom. The thing that's most interesting of this piece, though, is that there's a couple of people who looked at it, and besides commenting on the size of Adam, what they say is, "Oh, he's not circumcised." I thought that was kind of strange, because back in the days of God, I don't think anybody was. So sometimes real life is what inspires me to create a piece. And I wound up in the emergency a few months ago with diverticulitis, which ended up in a colonoscopy. So I knew that Barbie had turned 50 2 years ago. And, when you're 50, everybody should have a colonoscopy. So this is Barbie and her colonoscopy. Everything came out swell. And in the barbecue, we have light meat and dark meat and breast meat and thighs. This is amongst my first 10 pieces or so. This is Barbie's Last Sleepover. Originally, I called it Barbie's Last Supper, but then people thought it might be a religious piece. So I changed it to Barbie's Last Sleepover, which is a lot more humorous anyway. So I made all of their bathrobes and their towels around their head, which might look like turbans of the old days. The bread I made out of polymer clay. These little wine glasses are made out of bead caps, a little piece that you put on the end of beads. And then I tried to set them up so that they look as if they're engaged in some sort of conversation about the discotheque that they're going to go to tomorrow night for dancing in their spiked heels. Most of the people who collect my work, I would say 3 people, makes it sound like I've got 20 collectors, 3 people who go to the Altered Barbie show, I can be pretty sure that they're going to buy a piece each year.
Dr. Woof, D-O-G-T-O-R, W-O-O-F exclamation.
Okay, that's awesome. All right, cool.
Of Yvonne's pieces. One of them is called You Will Marry Me. It's a very elaborate piece involving gay marriage. And there's a piece, which I don't know the name, it's a blindfolded justice, figure of justice carrying the scales. There's one of Cowgirl Barbie, and she's riding Ken like a pony. Also, she has quite a sense of humor, and some of her subjects are rather sexy. I find those most attractive.
The 9th annual one-of-a-kind Altered Barbie show. It's like the event of the year. At the kind of people who come. It's unpredictable.
She found a way to express herself that she hadn't had before, and she's just so happy. It's just like the art just flows out of her.
I never thought that when I grew up that the kind of compliments that I would get that I'd be grateful for were people saying, "You are sick, you are weird, you are strange," all those kinds of, and I say, "Thank you very much." The thing that's great about Barbie is that, the humor is already sort of halfway there, or the controversy, I should say, is already halfway there. Regardless of what you do to her, you're already halfway there, because it's Barbie. I don't either, like her or hate her. She's just a plethora of ideas. It just goes on and on and on forever.
It's not much of a life when you're just a pretty face.
Just to be whoever you are is no disgrace. Don't be scared if you don't fit in. Look who's in the reject bin. It's the raggy dolls.
Raggy dolls.
Raggy dolls.
Raggy dolls.
Dolls like you and me. Raggy dolls.
Raggy dolls.
Raggy dolls.
Raggy dolls.
Made him perfectly. So if you got a bump on your nose or lumps on your toes, do not despair. Be like the raggy doll and say I just don't care. 'Cause raggy dolls,
Raggy dolls.
raggy dolls
Raggy
are
dolls.
happy just to be raggy dolls, dolls like you and me.